G'day guys, welcome back and let's have a look at our round 2 of the AFL recap video. So another great round of football. I was lucky I watched every single game, so I'm starting to get preferences for the teams that I think are on a different level. Generally, I like to wait till the fourth round. After four rounds, you kind of know where a team is at. I've already got six teams that I think are playing at a different level to the other 12. So this is a recap about the games that happened during the weekend. Lots of controversial things happened on the weekend. If you're into reality TV, you don't have to watch the Kardashians, just watch AFL football. It's the best reality TV you can watch. So let's have a look. Please like and subscribe to the video. And let's go to our first game that we had last week, which was at the MCG. I think it was on the Thursday night. Carlton against the Cats. I picked the Cats, as who wouldn't, but Carlton had a gutsy win over the Cats. They were pressured in the last quarter, but they hung on, which is good signs for Carlton. Both Curnows played really well. Carlton in general played really well, particularly coming off the draw last week where they only kicked 58 points. To get somewhere near 90 points against Geelong is a good effort. Even though Jeremy Cameron was on fire for the Cats, he kicked probably the BOG for the round, I think, and one of the most influential players. I wonder whether he's washing over a couple of cracks. So what's that? 82 points. So that's 10, 12 goals. So, and he's kicked half of them. So I wonder whether him playing so well is washing over a couple of concerns at Geelong at the moment. But full credit to Carlton, they played well. I really liked their last 2 minutes when the game was in the balance. They didn't give up. They sent Mackay down to the wings to take a couple of big marks. I think he took about 3 big marks just to settle down the game. So good work to Carlton. Geelong have got a few issues that they have to work through. We can't write off Geelong. You never write off Geelong. If you've written off Geelong for the last 20 years, you look like a fool. But they do have some issues. They do look a little bit slow, but we all know that they like to get going in the later part of the season. But 0 and 2, they've got a couple of easy games coming up. They've got the Suns next week, but we'll talk about that in the next video. Then we went to the Friday night with lights out, and the Lions did the job over the D's. It was good to see my team come back and actually try, which is not what they did against Port Adelaide the week before. They absolutely dominated the hit-outs. They dominated the midfield. They were on fire. And it wasn't until the lights caught on fire that Melbourne came out to play. Gawn went down in the first 3 minutes, I think. And I don't care who you support. We all support the best players in the league. We all felt the same. We all wanted him to come back on the ground, but good news that he's only done an MCL, so he's only out for a couple of weeks. I've actually picked him to be the Brownlow medalist, so it was a bit of a shock because up until that happened, the last 2 weeks or last 10 weeks, he's been probably the best rated player in the league. He is unbelievable. He does everything. So speedy recovery to Gorney. Let's hope we get our best players back on the field. But good job by Brisbane changing around the pathetic effort that they did the week before and to come out and play. So let's hope that they can keep doing that. Collingwood was scintillating against Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide didn't even give up a whelp. Collingwood are just playing. They're calling them the Collingwood Globetrotters. I can see why. All right, they are just taking off and going and running hard, and I'm sold on them. I didn't even have them in the 8 at the 2 weeks ago, but they are playing fantastic football, and I hope they can keep it going. Whether they can keep that kind of pace going through the whole year, it's going to be interesting to watch. But I just love the way the free-flowing football that they're playing. They made Port Adelaide, who destroyed us last week, look like us last week. But really great job. Dacos, both Dacostas are playing unbelievable. They're all playing well. They all know what to do, just get the ball going forward. Fantastic win. Any team that can kick over 100 points in this competition is the real deal. Collingwood are the real deal. We went over to Adelaide Oval. Was always going to be a danger match for the Crows, a young team that is coming up in the ranks. Richmond still look the goods, still got all the talent in the world, still play a good brand of football. Adelaide had an amazing third quarter. They absolutely dominated Richmond, which would be scary for the Tigers, but the Tigers settled. You could see the experience. They just settled down, and then they ran away with the game in the end. But full credit to Adelaide, they had a really tough game in the first round, and after that amazing effort for 20 minutes, where they kicked 6 goals or 7 goals straight, just to get themselves back into the games, the power ran out of the legs, and they got run over. But good job to Richmond. Richmond is still looking quite good, looking scary. Cochin had a really great game. Yeah, they've just got some talent. There's a bit of a concern over Dusty. Dusty was subbed off in the last quarter, where they're just managing him. But good job for Richmond. Then we went to Bulldogs against St Kilda. Bulldogs have got some major worries. 41 points against St Kilda. This is a team that most of the pundits have said that they're going to be in the top 4. Well, they're not going to be in the top bottom 4. They will be bottom the way that they're playing. Everyone was worried about whether the tall forwards were going to work this year. That they've got bigger problems to work out at Bulldog Land. They've got us next week at the Gabba, maybe. So this is going to be a massive test for the Bulldogs next week against the Lions. St Kilda are playing really great football under Ross Lyons. I tipped them last week. I didn't tip them this week. I thought they might have just had a new coach buff. I thought Western Bulldogs would have put up a better fight. But St Kilda are still doing exactly what they do. Run, run, run. Tackle, tackle, tackle. Run back in defence. Run forward in attack. So really great job for St Kilda. Let's hope that they can keep that going as well. And then yesterday, I actually tipped North Melbourne, would you believe? Freo have got some. If the Bulldogs have got some problems, Freo have got the worst problems, because they are supposed to be a top 4 team. They just can't score. They've got absolutely nothing going on in their forward line. They look dead. They've got no energy. They look like the system is destroying them. They look good in the last. They nearly stole the game. The last 5 minutes, they opened up the game and they took on the game, and then they actually look like the team that we saw last year. And like I said in my previous videos, Fremantle played probably 5 of the best games I've seen Fremantle play, but also last year, the best team. They were free flowing and take the game on. So Longmuir, he's got some decisions to make, to just let these young kids play and stop so much on the structure. Great job for North Melbourne, though. It's amazing to see them. Last year they won 2 games, and they've already won 2 games, so they've already succeeded in this season. And they look good, and LDU looks fantastic. They've got one there. They lost Horn Francis, but they replaced him really quickly, and that Sheasel guy looks pretty good too. But they're up and about the Kangaroos. So we'll see how far they can go up the ladder. Then we went to the SCG, which an absolute thumping of Hawthorn. I don't know. Again, I like teams that try. Hawthorn looked like they didn't even try. They didn't even do anything. Sydney Swans are a really great outfit, and I predicted it in my tipping. I said that they could win by 60, 70, 80 points, and they definitely did that. But the Sydney Swans are the real deal. They're quick, they're fast, they tackle, they're hungry, and they can see that, Hawthorn are the wooden spoon favourites, and they did a job on them. But we can see the top 4 teams when they play Hawthorn, you've got to be getting 70, 80 points against Hawthorn. Then we went to Marvel Stadium, good win by Essendon. Suns were disappointing. They had all the ball in the third quarter. They couldn't convert. Could have put some scoreboard pressure. I don't rate Matt Rowell, but that was probably the best game I've ever seen him play. And at some points, he was the only one trying. I really rate Tuke Miller, but Tuke was a little bit off as well. But yeah, when it come down to when the whips were cracking, Gold Coast Suns just didn't put up a whimper. So they're in a lot of trouble. They've been telling us for the off season about that they're ready to make finals. They're not going to make finals. They're stuck in limbo somewhere. But I really like Essendon. I liked when they actually got going, and they did their rebound from D50. They look good. They look fast, and they're actually starting to defend, which is what they need to do. So, and the new coach, Brad Scott, must be putting that Lions 2000, 2001, yeah, what was it? 2000, 2001, 2002, 2001, 2002, 2003 efforts into them, and they're looking okay. So they're looking like they might be somewhere around it. And then the last round, I also picked the West Coast Eagles. You just can't buy class, and at some point, this proud team had to do something. Now, I still don't think that they're not gonna make finals or anything like that, but at least they put in some effort. They found a couple of young players that we haven't seen, Jones and Dom Sheed had an absolute amazing game. Kelly come out on fire, set the game up. Giants would be nothing without the Toby Green factor. I knew there'd be a die-off from the Giants from the hard game that they had against Adelaide. It's always a tough trip to go over West Coast, even if they're not playing well. But good to see the West Coast Eagles actually try. McGovern had a great game. Cripps had a great game. So Gaff had a good game. So all those big names that premiership players actually look like they're a bit hungry now, and they're sick of being, in the newspaper saying what the hell's going on. So a good win by West Coast. So I got 6 out of 9. I think Flashcrow got 3 out of 9 this week. He actually sent me a text saying that I've picked so many roughies for this week, but I didn't think they were roughies. So I've already narrowed down 6 teams that are on a different level. So I've got Sydney, Collingwood, Melbourne, Brisbane, Geelong, Carlton. Those 6 teams are playing a different type of football that are hard. It's hard to stop. So when it's free flowing and quick, so they're the 6 teams that I have at a different tier, and then the other 12. Right, there's a couple of teams that are Suns and Hawthorn that are right down the bottom. The rest of them are all like-for-like teams. So I'm not going to go too crazy until I get to the 4th round, but I'm going to be picking these 6 teams for the rest of the year. But anyway, there's the recap. I hope you like it. If you got any comments, please leave them down below. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in a couple of days for my tips for round 3. Catch you then.